A shout out to our podcast sponsor, sportsponsorship.co.uk. If you or your business are interested in making a real difference to the Scottish game, supporting hundreds of kids into regular football, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk and they'll find the right fit for your brand.
You're the last man standing at work. I've got the first two. I picked Tottenham first week and then Bournemouth this week, so that's good.
Well,
Nice.
Going for Man United next week. They have to win, surely. Against
home to Burnley.
Surely, come on.
Nah, it's banana skin central.
Come on, Man United. Come on, can't go on forever.
Burnley had a good week. 2-0 clean sheet.
True.
Man, you looked good against Arsenal at home, and Cunha's bound to score eventually. He's had about 100 shots.
Yeah, I was going to transfer him in for next week. He looked like he was just knocking on the door.
I have him and Mbeumo in my team. I'm tempted to take Mbeumo out because he hasn't looked at all likely, whereas Cunha had a lot of chances, man. But anyway, that's fucking English pish, eh? That's not the real stuff, is it? All that
Real
money,
deal.
fucking glamour. Every single club's owned by some sort of celebrity or some part owner. Like Claudia Schiffer was at the Brentford game. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
She's the queen
Luka
bee.
Modric is and Snoop Dogg are part owners of Swansea now. Apparently,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg sent his son to go and watch the game, I think, the other day.
Did he?
On his behalf, yeah.
His behalf.
Proxy.
The Snoop puppy.
Snoop puppy.
Who's the most famous person being involved in Scottish football ownership? Mind that mental boy that owned Gretna? He was mad, eh? What was his name like?
Vintage Lapointe, mate. He's the biggest name.
He's the high.
He's getting his music out on some of the promos as well for Dumbarton. Yeah. It's quite sort of aggressive kind of Van Morrison kind of style.
So he's only bought a club.
Aggressive Van Morrison.
He's basically bought a football club just to promote his music. That's what he's doing.
They're doing a music festival as well.
He's like, how can I get my music out there?
It's something at the Rock. I can't remember what it's called, but
Rock at the Rock.
Yeah,
that would have been a really good one, but I don't think it is that. But yeah, no, they've got a music festival on the go. I didn't see his name on there, but I bet you he
guest appearance, mate.
He does like a wee Brent.
Comes in like a mask or something and just whips it off. Oh my god! Oh my god! It's been just a point.
You'll be doing a speech to open it or to close it or something at some point, and his assistant will walk on with a guitar, and he'll go like, "Oh, come on! Don't want the guitar, do we? Okay, fine."
I've not prepared anything.
Quite right, man. On yourself.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all do the same if we were in his shoes. Just fucking, if you're in the stage of life where it's Monopoly and you've just got money to piss about with, you just have a ruddy good laugh, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing alright as well in League 2. They're
they're doing fine. And
they've been top, hadn't been for their points deduction. They're doing
structurally, they're looking pretty decent as well. Like they're filling good gaps, at board level, and he seems to have that respect for the voluntary kind of resource there too, and is really encouraging of that, trying to get more of the local community involved. So actually from an investor that's come in, especially from abroad, he's actually really embraced Dumbarton. I thought he would kind of be in and out, but he's really, really active. I've been, watching what he's been doing, and he's he's right in it. He's fully invested in it. So it's not just one of his kind of wee investments and it's a bit of a toy. He's proper going for it, and he's trying to get a lot of people involved across the other side of the pond as well. So he's doing a lot of promo videos of people saying, next time we're over in Scotland, I'm going to come over and watch Dumbarton at the Rock and all that kind of thing. So I know obviously some of it's a bit cheesy, but it's pretty cool that he's just giving it everything. So. Hats off to him. He's a funny character, but
just what you want in Scottish football.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not one of those minted owners that just sits he's not doing it to make loads of cash and sit abroad and just watch the pennies trickling and take the odd call from someone. Is he? He's obviously doing it because he's passionate about building something, I guess. Which, as much as we can take the piss, it's fair play to the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to him.
Tinpot time. Hey, let's get stuck into episode 13. Welcome along to Tinpot, our Scottish football podcast. My name is Tom. I'm your host, joined by our usual suspects, Andrew and Matt. And our contents page reads as follows for this week. First of all, we're going to dive into Friday night's Fife derby from our resident rover, Matt. We're going to look at the sort of Tinpot moments from the European games last week, specifically looking at the two Glasgow teams that are competing in Europe. And Rangers fans leaving after 20 minutes, Celtic fans singing sack the board. It was all just, in my opinion, a bit Tinpot. We'll have a look at the first sort of managerial changes that have happened over the last week or two as well, with Don Cowie and Rhys McCabe. And then finally, the Scotland squad was announced today as well, ahead of the World Cup qualifiers that kick off in just over a week's time. So we'll have a wee look at the squad and get some thoughts before closing off with our usual weekly quiz, which is home or away. So that's what you can expect for the next 40 minutes or so. But before we crack on with all that, always got to ask the important question: how are you both? Are you both well, both personally, both professionally, and from a football sense as well?
Yeah, I'm a bit on edge at the moment, if I'm honest with you. Just because I was out enjoying probably the last of the sunshine out in the paddling pool with my wee lass, having a good time, and then got to cleaning up time, so was coping the water out of the pool, and there's like a wee drain at the bottom of the garden, and I was coping the water and absolutely shat myself because about 6 mice just darted straight out the drain. Honestly, I was like, I'm just looking around my room, like just like waiting for like a wee shitty little fucking mouse to like pop up somewhere. But
it's on your head as you're recording the podcast.
Oh man, honestly, I can imagine that. Honestly, so I'm on high alert. All the windows are shut. It's fucking roasting in the house. I've got the dog like patrolling up and down. I'm like,
but the mouse travel with a bit of cheddar cheese on it at least.
That doesn't work, man. That doesn't work. Apparently,
you don't like cheddar cheese.
It's
they've watched too much Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, or Nutella apparently is.
I like Nutella. I'll be getting my tongue stuck in those bad boys.
You got a rodent infestation. Why is your dog not taking care of things?
Well, there's none in the house so far. So I got the dog outside and he was like right at it. So hopefully he keeps him at bay. But
that's never
bad for those mice that you've drowned. That's terrible.
It shouldn't be in my drain, mate. Come on, get out of there. Like bloody like Farage with his migrants. I'm just
Oh. Hey, Farage is recruiting, by the way. I see all the riots and protests outside the hotels. It was fucking nuts.
Happening not far away from here. It was happening up
That's
in
what I mean.
Perth on the weekend.
I thought it was just a down south problem, but clearly not. So
apparently they're busting them up here and all that kind of thing as well. So
let's not get political.
It's crazy times. But I mean, if they want to come round here and get around the drain and get them out of there, then that's fine. But so that's my exciting news. But yeah, fully on edge during this episode.
Trying to think of a segue to take us from Nigel Farage to Barry Robson, but that's where I draw the line. Matthew, you are obviously ecstatic, I assume, following on from Friday night's game.
Yeah, it was always great to beat Dunfermline. Got to keep my head down. When I'm walking the streets and that, I don't know if people could sense not a vibe, but I'm a recording man. So I got my hair cut, shaved my beard off, so now no one will recognise me after I was going about the streets. Up here, knocking on the doors and that after the victory. Hey, fuck you. I got sport Rangers past. It's good up you. You're from Dunfermline anyway.
I'm assuming you watched the game. Yeah, you weren't there, but you were watching.
Unfortunately, no. I have limited availability to attend football matches this life. Maybe in the future, get the children. But no, at the moment, watching it on the old BBC, which is good coverage as usual. The Shambolics, shout out to them, local band from Kirkcaldy.
Dancing in the Streets of Raith, is that the tune?
Dancing on the Streets of Raith, mate.
Sorry, on the Streets of Raith.
Great song, good song, cool band. No, it was an okay game. I mean, cameraman, I was thinking, must have had a hard day's work, constantly. Oh shit! It was it was pretty hectic. It was pretty 100-mile-an-hour stuff, particularly from the Rovers. But I think that was what they wanted to do. That was the game plan, to really just get stuck in, play the fast, like Mullen through the middle, just chasing their defenders. Dylan Easton as well, putting on a shift, and Scott Brown playing a bit higher up, sort of man marking their playmaker or deep line playmaker, just giving Dunfermline no real time on the ball. And in the end, our experience really shone through. It was a young Dunfermline team, some good young players, but I think Rovers have one of the older squads in the league, and it showed in that game. They managed it quite well, and in the end, it was.
I was going to say it's pretty impressive that you managed to keep a clean sheet if it was as hectic as what you're saying.
Yeah, we made it pretty mad. They tried to play football and it didn't really work. They had some pressure in the second half, but I don't think Ray, the Rovers goalkeeper, had to make too many difficult saves. I think a few of them were straight at him. They had a couple of half chances, but it was good. Robson went with the same team that beat Ayr a couple of weeks ago, so you thought he was going to go the same sort of tactics of sitting relatively deep and playing direct balls and trying to unsettle their defence, and it worked. You saw with the first goal, Dylan Easton blocking the boys, clearance, chasing it down, and Lewis Stevenson getting in the 6-yard box, which was incredible. And then he absolutely destroyed that Andrew Todd boy. I don't know if that was. Did you see that challenge?
Nah, I've not seen it.
No.
It's kind of like Lewis Stevenson is quite a hefty guy, big muscles and that. And obviously Andy Todd's a wee specky, lanky boy. So he comes in for a header and he sort of leads with the arm, but I think it's just an unfortunate collision. Like Stevenson gets the ball and then Todd goes flying, glasses everywhere, getting dazed and confused, has to go off.
Wait,
Neil
glasses?
Lennon, yeah, he wears glasses,
like goggles, like as in Edgar Davids ones.
Yeah. Does
he?
Yeah, I don't know how bad his eyesight is, but yeah, they were flying off the pitch, and so he was just lying there all getting stars and that, and then he had to go off, and Lennon was claiming it was a red card. I don't think it was a red card. It was a strong challenge, man. This is the fucking men's game, son, eh? So you can't handle that. Back
to the boys' football, you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they're to tackle each other in youth football these days. They're just doing passing drills and that, are they not? Eh? I don't know.
God knows. Yeah, I should have asked Henry when he was on. But what do you think? Rovers obviously a pretty good start to the season. I didn't think they'd be down near the bottom, but I didn't think they'd be challenging near the top. I know we're only 3 games in. 7 points from 9, a good win on the roads at Somerset, and then obviously a derby win, both clean sheets. Pretty impressive from Robson so far.
Yeah, I think Robson. I think it's 13 games unbeaten now, going back to last season in the league. I think he has found a formula of how to win games. It might not be the most attractive football. He's not the kind of manager that's going to get you playing out from the back. He likes to get forward, get his attackers in play, get us in advanced positions. So and he knows what he plays what he likes. He plays the players that he likes. So I think he likes Matthews in the middle. He likes Josh Mullen at right back. We signed a right back from England who started the League Cup campaign quite well. He's got a few goals, but he's been dropped. Josh Mullen's in at right back, right wing back, and Paul McMullen I think started every game, and he's playing him centrally on Friday. So I think he knows how to win games tough. When we're against a better opposition, we struggled at home to Queen's Park when we were obviously the favourites. I think that's when he struggles a bit to break teams down. But I think when we're set up against Dunfermline or Ayr, St Johnstone, Ross County, the teams that were maybe not exactly favourites to win, then he knows how to get the results. So I was saying that to my friends, is it about results or is it about performance? You want to win games, so I can ask Andrew in the middle, mate. Yeah, it's all about results, really, I think.
Yeah, it's all about results, definitely. I was gonna ask you about, obviously they've got quite an experienced squad there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the squad depth to kind of deal with, because typically, from the championship downwards, when, you do have quite an experienced squad, second half of the season, yourself, injuries start to sort of add up, and then that starts to leave a few holes in the squad. Is that something you've got to worry about now, or do you think there's been enough business done in the window that you've probably got enough cover there? Or
I think we've got maybe 18, and in that you're including a couple of young boys that have impressed. I think we need some more recruitment. I think the agreement with Rangers will hopefully give us a few more bodies in the door.
Have you got anything from that yet?
Not yet, no, not yet.
Oh.
There's some decent options on the bench. Also, saw Lewis Vaughan, Jack Hamilton, and an exciting winger, Richard Shin, who came down from England as well. He's quite exciting. You've got young players like Callum Hanna, Raith, Montague, who have played first team football. Defence is difficult. If you lose one of the centre halves, then you could be struggling, and he likes to play three at the back. So we could do some cover there. But we've got some good attacking options in. Again, I don't know. I think we need 2 or 3 more just to really beef the squad out. And just hope there's no injuries to any of the key players. Because left back as well, it would be Callum Hanna that comes in and he's 17, 18, and again, these are older players, so Hanlon and Stevenson are quite getting mid to late 30s, so you wonder, are they going to be able to last the season, because we do play quite intense. I don't know.
It must be some average age in the squad, eh? Like all those players that you're mentioning, they're all
wages, well.
like pretty much all in their 30s, and like you say, wages, so you're not going to be able to get any, like you're not going to be able to sell any of them if you do well, and because obviously the goal is to try and come up, isn't it? It's been the goal for the last 20 odd years, is to get back into the top flight, and I suppose if you do that, you want to be able to try and stay there. And if you've got all these aging fellas, you don't want to get into that predicament. But I mean, you'd take it now, wouldn't you?
You look at it from a positive standpoint, though. Sitting second in the league, undefeated. If you've got that aging squad, you really need to start off. The first half of the season needs to be spot on. To help to carry you through in the second half. If you get to the point where you're at the end of the window, you've got an agreement with Rangers, to maybe try and fill some of those gaps, if not all of them. You're rattling off, needing cover and defence. I mean, there are players there that, would be available. But, from Rangers' perspective, you'd want to be loaning out some of your best top talent to a team that are, pushing near the top of the championship. Because ultimately that is, we've discussed it before, equal level to the sort of bottom 6 of the Prem quite comfortably. So I mean, you're in a great spot to try and snap up some decent talent rather than just maybe getting the dregs, and filling a gap, but you're probably not going to be playing many games. So that agreement could work out nicely.
Added incentive for the Rangers as well to do that if you're in a title race with Ayr United or Dunfermline with Lenny.
Only title race you're going to be in as well. So to be fair, wouldn't be surprised if Raith finish a better team than Rangers at the end of this season in terms of almost everything but stature in the league. But it would be a positive move for a young player, really, wouldn't it? If it's clicking there, you've got the experience around them as well. That's kind of what you want. You don't really want to be going into a super young squad and then they're not picking up as much as they could. So I think it would be a great recipe to try and take advantage of that cooperation agreement right at the end of the window.
Yeah.
Quick trivia question for you, Matt. Not for any points on the leaderboard, but something I found out earlier. When was the last time Dunfermline scored at Starks Park?
It wasn't last season, it was 2-0, 2-0. Season before that, were they in the league? Yeah, they were. No, were they in the league last season? I can't remember. I'm going to say 3 years ago, mate. 4 years ago.
4 years ago? Is that a final answer?
Yeah.
It was in 2015, the last time the Pars scored at Raith, and it was a 1-1 draw in the League Cup in, I think, January time. December time. Yeah,
last season Raith won both home games, and then Dunfermline won their 2 home games, so it seems to sort of favour the home team.
You've won your last 4 at home 2-0 each time, I think, and then the one before that was 1-0 from what I saw. Quite the derby record, eh? Well done.
Yeah, I mean,
incredible.
Dunfermline
looked okay. They were a bit toothless in attack. Which they had two young boys, obviously Todd and that Connor Young, who banged in a load of goals in League Two for Edinburgh City. He hasn't scored yet for Dunfermline. And they brought in a couple of interesting new recruits, Amadi and Caceres, who they actually bought from Sheffield United, paid some money.
Right.
Someone you've never heard of. He looked quite silky, liked to dive, of course. But not saying that's a foreign thing, but you just get up, mate. I mean, they look decent players. They had a few moments, but again, Raith just sort of batted them away. You know, big Paul Hanlon and big Fordyce at the back, absolute beasts, and we forced them to play long at times, and that really fed into our hands. But I mean, I think they'll be up there like challenging for the playoffs. Obviously, Lennon's a class manager, and he'll get them going. Like you could tell, he was a bit pissed off in the first half. Like they were out really early. At the beginning of the second, apparently he was going mental at them in the changing rooms, like what we're saying. But
no surprises there.
Yeah,
No.
You've got a couple of winnable fixtures as well before you play St Johnstone, so you hope that maybe they slip up. You can go into that game close to them on points, and then it comes down to a one-off to take top of the leaderboard.
They're looking pretty good. St Johnstone, they're looking really strong.
Yeah, stronger than I thought.
But I don't know about Rovers against them. But yeah, if we can keep pace, I don't know. I can see it being a one-horse race now. Really, I can see everyone else taking points off each other, and St Johnstone kind of just strolling the league. Unless County also bring in, I don't know who they'll bring in, but if they go on a big run, then potentially. But and that Saints squad is really strong. Like they've really beefed at it with some interesting signings. So I don't know. Let's see how it goes.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
It can be tricky to compete with that size of budget over 36 games, can't it? You saw it where United a couple of years ago in that league. Budget's way too big. So yeah, you fell away, like you say. But since you mentioned County, you might as well move on to the managerial changes that we've had. Like I say, it was just on the weekend there that Don Cowie, by mutual agreement, has left Ross County. And yeah, about a week before that, we had the news of Rhys McCabe choosing to step down at Airdrieonians. So we'll start in Dingwall. From what I've heard, there's only one name on everyone's lips to replace Don Cowie up in Dingwall, and it's a prediction you made a few weeks ago, Andrew, I think, which was, say, Tony Dock could get that job, and they'd be laughing if they could get Docherty. And I think in the position they're in, it's still early in the season, they're only 7 points off the top, but only a couple of points away from the playoff spots. If they got him in now to steady the ship a wee bit, I'm sure they'd love that.
Oh yeah, I mean, that would be the best signing they could possibly make. Definitely. I know we've covered the old Doc plenty in here, but he's a class manager. He is really. I do really rate him, and he knows how to get the most out of any squad. I think he'll be able to go in there and even if he's not given much time in the window or anything, I think that's the kind of manager that you're not going to get. I might eat my words, later in the season, but he's not the kind of guy that you would come across as complaining, that he's not got the right resources or anything like that. He never had those kind of really complaints at Dundee. He just knuckled down and got on with it. And obviously, the season before he went away, what a fantastic result he got for Dundee. So, yeah, I can't really see how you would make a better appointment for someone who's not at a club at the moment. Free agent. For him, it's a good move as well, because ultimately County have been in the Prem for long enough that
they've got money.
They're a decent side. They're investing. And from a sort of backroom side as well, they do want to kick on. So I think it would be a really good fit and probably a bit of a side step, for Tony Dock rather than the step back, in my opinion. I would love to see him back in the hot seat again. I think he'd do great.
When you look at his mate Delboy McInnes, who went to Kilmarnock in the Championship after being at Aberdeen for so long, got them up, kept them up, did really well with them. Now he's manager of Hearts. So I mean, you can get on a real momentum if you're a manager team promotion. Looks great on your CV. Keep them up. I mean, the bigger things await for Tony Dock. I mean, he's a great experience. Obviously, he was with McInnes for a long time and went himself at Dundee, and he's certainly kept himself in the limelight with being on every single episode of Sports Sound, and he was still co-commentator in the Rovers game as well. So he's kept himself
staying relevant. Yeah.
So I think surely they have to at least ask him. Like if he wants to go up there, I don't know, but I don't think he would turn that down really.
No, I think you'll be announced there before the weekend. For the weekend's games, I was listening to Sports Sound on Sunday on the radio, and Billy Dodds was talking about it. Obviously, he's been involved up at County and knows the owners and the directors and stuff. And he was saying that they're the type of people who make these decisions with someone in mind beforehand. Because when Dodsey was there before he got relieved, the announcement was made after that management team moved on within days. And he knew that conversation had happened before he'd actually left. So he was hinting that there's probably been conversations ongoing already. I don't know how true that could be. Yeah, no, it's the right thing to be doing. It's smart forward planning. There was no malice in what he was saying, but he just knows the way that those leaders at County work. So yeah, I can imagine it being quite a quick thing. And when it being with it being bang in the middle of the season, they need to act fast, don't they? The only bizarre thing I think is they've made that decision now. They've had a fairly strong window in the a transfer window in the summer, I think. Anyway, there's been a few Premiership type of names brought in, Gallagher and Mackay Stephen, and
they kept Hale, Ronan Hale. They kept him from last season.
Managed to secure Hale again. And I thought that if you're going to go for a change in management, you'd have done it before now, like when the team went down. Because I know they've had a poor start, but
I think to be fair, it does show loyalty to Don Cowie, and he has got them through some tough times as well. So there is a good respect there. He's got a good history with the club, so I don't really criticise them. I think it was the right thing to do, but they're just not off to a good start. And yes, it's early in the season to make a change, but they've got to be keeping an eye on St Johnstone particularly, because bookies' favourites before anything kicked off would have been those two to win the league. So they've got to be reactive, and it's better to maybe do that before the window shuts. I know we've only got about a week, but it's better to do that now. And then if it is Tony Dock, whoever it is, then at least they've got an opportunity to say, well, we really could prioritise this area of the pitch. They're not gonna. I would be really surprised if they brought in somebody that isn't familiar with the Scottish game. It'll be someone like Tony Dock, I would imagine. So then he'll be familiar with all the players. He'll be familiar with their capabilities and understand that where there might be areas that he'll want to make his own signings, I guess. But they'll back them. County are well funded. They're well backed. Well organised, in the background. So, I think that if they make that appointment quickly, then this is the time to do it. If they did it after the window had shut, or if they did it before anything had kicked off, I think maybe a few people will be scratching their heads a little bit, because no one was really saying, Ross County could go up, but can they do it with Don Cowie? Before anything had started, they were in contention, and they're one of the favourites regardless. So I don't think anyone could have seen that coming.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think it's one of those where you could be either side of the fence about getting rid of him when you go down, or getting rid of him after a poor start. Like you say, it's before the window shuts, so at least that's pretty smart. Yeah. Another team languishing down near the bottom of the Championship is Airdrieonians. They've had a pretty rough start to things, and Rhys McCabe's made that even tougher by stepping down. Either of you guys got any ideas as to who would be a good fit for Airdrie?
It's a tough one, really. Not really, no. Because I'm just not really sure what their budget would be. Obviously, when Rhys McCabe came in, what a fantastic job he did, to kick off with. And he looked like a real hot prospect that was maybe going on to, a bigger job, with respect. Soon after, but he stuck with the club, and obviously had a very challenging season last season. Was maybe a little bit fortunate with all, Hamilton's situation, etc. So I think this has been coming a wee while, but you would hope with it coming a wee while that they've kind of got their ducks in a row. We're speaking about County being in that position. Hopefully, Airdrieonians in a similar position, but. they're going to be one of the teams in the Championship, maybe with Arbroath, that are, on a much tighter budget. So I'm trying to think of someone that's a similar profile to Rhys McCabe, that up and coming kind of management prospect.
Yeah.
I think that's more their kind of model. I can't really think of anyone outstanding right now. Maybe East Kilbride's manager, might be maybe looking a little bit there, but again, you're going to have to pay big money to try and prize them
They
away.
might go down the player manager route again. They've got some experience in that squad. Sean McGinty just signed from this season. He's only 32. He could come in player manager. Other than that, it's a young team. Goodness me. I was thinking maybe Ian Murray could go back, but I don't know if he, after a couple of good seasons at Rovers, he's maybe looking for a job a bit higher than Airdrie. But again, he's not done anything for a year. So has he been?
If I were him, I'd take it.
Yeah, has he been going for jobs, Murray, or is he taking some time off, or is he?
It's hard to know.
Yeah,
but I don't know if he's expecting something higher up in the pecking order. It's not going to be a Premiership club that's come and calling.
No.
And
no,
if you're looking at the top end of the Championship, why would a top end of the Championship team be getting rid of their manager?
Yeah.
It could be a discussion at County, but like you say, I think Tony Dock's more of a fit for them. I think the way Ian Murray played with the Rovers team when he was there would fit maybe better at Airdrie than it would at County. They're obviously not going to be able to pay anywhere near as much, but he is local to the Lothians, and I know that, and that's much easier for me to access going out to Airdrie than having to relocate up north. So could be a shout. Another couple of names that I think are being touted are Kevin Thompson, who obviously had a short stint at Kelly Hearts before walking away after he got them promoted up into League One a few seasons ago. So he's, again, like you say, a young manager, fairly inexperienced, so wouldn't be demanding the world in terms of his contract or anything like that. Might be a good shout. Or James McPake as well. He's had a couple of stints in management, and most recently was at the Pars when he got them promoted back into the Championship before getting binned a few months later. So those are the names being touted.
I would say Kevin Thompson would fit the profile quite well. Obviously he's not the same as sort of Rhys McCabe, but he's very experienced in the youth football side. He's carried that forward with his own academy. He's carried that forward with the Rangers academy since departing Kelty Hearts. So he would maybe be able to sort of mould that squad a little bit better. The only thing I would say is, just after watching his recent interviews, didn't really sound like he was kind of putting himself forward for opportunities at the moment. He seemed quite content with his current sort of situation. So I don't know if I'd feel like sort of slipping a few quid on that. James McPake, I don't really feel that would work out. If I'm honest, just again for how young that squad is, his background, I know Airdrieonians are pretty well established, but it is. I just don't feel he has that flexibility in his locker personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just would feel like a very high risk move. Someone like Murray would probably be a little bit of a safer pair of hands, and based on their two CVs, James McPake's actually managed in the Premiership. You would imagine that he's probably going to be demanding slightly more than Murray, in terms of a wage. So, I'm not sure that the budget would stretch to that personally, but you never know.
If you're putting a quid on one of those three names, you would say Murray's going to be favourite for the job?
If I had to go for one of the three, I do think personally it'll probably be something quite left field, and more the sort of profile that Matthew was kind of pushing to say. Might be someone from within. It might be somebody that's recently retired and maybe looking to sort of step into the hot seat somewhere. I think that's the type of budget that Airdrieonians would be sort of shopping around in. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because we've seen loads of established managers fall flat on their face. So it's a good opportunity to try and bring in some new blood, and it's good to see some, fresh Scottish managers sort of coming through as well. These are the types of teams that help to promote that. So I would prefer to see that, but of the three, I'd put money on Murray.
But so your quid would actually be going on the other column.
Yeah, but you said
okay.
of the three, but yeah,
No,
there you
that's
go.
fine. Yeah. So your pound's going in the other column. Matthew, you the same? You think it'll be a lesser known face?
I don't know. I think it's hard.
Your
It's hard.
pound's going in
Airdrie
the don't know column.
are an interesting team. I think Ian Murray will be back at Airdrie. Ian Murray.
Ian Murray,
Yeah.
back for
Good home.
his second spell.
Yeah.
He got them 2 playoff finals, didn't he? 2 championship playoff finals when he
They're
was
an exciting team.
at
Like,
Airdrie. So.
he likes attacking
Aye.
football, which is fun. Yeah.
And then did he get the jump to Rovers? Did he go mid-contract to Rovers?
Nah, yeah,
was he poached?
I'm not sure. I think possibly his contract expired or he let it run down and then Rovers.
Right, okay. Aye.
And
But it wasn't like a termination job. He's moved up in the world. Yeah, good, cool. I mean, we might as well talk about another manager that could be getting kicked out the door pretty soon, moving up a league from Championship to Premiership. And yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, I think I titled one of our podcast episodes, Scottish football is so back, parentheses, for now. And the reason for those brackets was for exactly the reason that we got shown last week. So yeah, a few weeks ago, Dundee United had got a 2-2 draw away in Vienna, and Hibs had beaten Belgrade away, and Rangers were progressing against Pilsen. And we thought Scottish football is so back. We had the potential of 5 teams being in the latter stages or the group stages at least of Europe. And then Rangers got spanked at home by Club Brugge. Celtic struggled against Kairat Almaty. Hibs obviously got beat at home. And Aberdeen were 2-0 down and managed to scrape a 2-2 draw against FCSB. But the 2 Tinpot moments for me of last week were Rangers fans walking out of their home stadium after 20 minutes. I can't tell anyone what to do with their money, but if you're going to buy a ticket and go to your football game, support your team till the end.
do we
Don't
know they
fucking
actually
walk out
left?
after 20 minutes.
Do we know they left the ground, or did they go for a wee pee or a burger or whatever they sell?
I think
No,
it
left.
must have been laxatives in the burgers, maybe, but yeah, no, they definitely were walking out. Yeah, I don't want to turn it into a massive rant. But I agree with you. You know, I think if anyone that's paid for a ticket can do what they want, but in my opinion, I've seen some really hard times at Rangers, and I've never left before the final whistle. You know, I understand people maybe needing to get up the road, you know, get the last train home or the tube or something like that. That's fair enough, but no excuses for that in my opinion. But yeah, it's just gone from bad to worse at Rangers, really, to be honest. And yeah,
This reaction, sorry, I'm not.
I know. It's almost comical, like really, like just I don't really know what to make of it, but
How did it go wrong so quickly, man? It was like not too bad, like 2 weeks ago.
I think it's just the perfect storm, really, to be honest. You know, because there was such a majority of fans that didn't really want Russell Martin in the first place. So as soon as things started going wrong, then, you know, it was kind of driven into sort of hypercritical stage. And I do think Russell Martin has not helped himself as well, though. You know, I will say that. I do think that, you know, digging out individual players like Raskan, you know, a while ago, the interview, I suppose, that he did at Dundee but then sort of flapped at did at Motherwell but then flapped at Dundee, and then, you know, obviously the whole Ligaman thing, which is wild. Personally, you know, I feel there is a huge mentality problem in the squad, and I've said that obviously already, but I don't really think he's helping the situation at all. I think he's making it so much worse. And yeah, I mean, looking at the European games, obviously that was the original kind of topic. I mean, Bruges are a quality side, you know, but Rangers really sort of handed it to them. You know, it was comical defending. Really, really, really brutal. I mean, at least 2 of the 3 goals, I would say, are completely avoidable. You know, one was an absolute class finish, but it was given on a plate, you know, so realistically, big concerns there for Rangers. But
can you blame the manager for the players making idiotic decisions like the first goal. Can you really say that's his
This is
fault?
what I think it's the combination of the two, really, to be honest with you. So
They're nervous because what he's asking them to do. Is that the thing?
maybe slightly, yeah, but I do think also that I said it in a previous episode. I think that he's not the best man manager, and unfortunately, that's kind of what Rangers really need at the moment. They've got a very disjointed squad, behind the scenes, from a mentality perspective, and I just think that the behaviour he's showing is not really helping to solve that, and I mean, I don't know if the window shuts and you've still got, a good percentage of the squad in there fairly disgruntled, then can't really see things getting much better for him, to be fair. But the style of play, the more it goes on, just the less invested, in my opinion, you kind of see the players, which again seems a mentality thing. I just don't think they're massively interested in this sort of whole running around like fuck, chasing the ball constantly, pressing, and keeping a high line, and risking it all kind of thing. Every goal pretty much that Rangers have conceded, it's two passes from the opposition, and they're clean through, from pretty much the halfway line onwards. So if you're going to play that style of football, you really need to have your squad fully invested in what you're doing. I just don't think that's happening, and I don't think it will happen, unfortunately. So next leg of the Club Brugge game.
Sack the board, mate. That's what I say, man. Get the fucking board out. Get the owners out. These clowns and pointing this guy. What the fuck? Yeah, sack the brand new board.
Sack the board. Yeah. Get back Dave King and
David Murray
and Craig White and all these boys. It's a bit of a mess. But I think it's only going to go one way. Martin will get sacked eventually, whenever that happens. Not anytime soon, I don't think, but I think it will happen eventually.
The season then, what, the attendances dwindle and there's 10,000
I think he'll possibly be away before Christmas.
Is it Celtic at home or away next week?
It's at home, but I mean,
what if you're battered in that game? Then will you get sacked?
Celtic are not looking at their best. I would say, obviously, looking at the Kairat game, which was one of the topics there. They should have done better. But they're getting the jobs done, and domestically, and that's what they're used to doing. That's what's ingrained in their sort of identity, and I firmly believe they'll get the job done pretty comfortably at Ibrox. To be honest, I can't really see that not happening. You just look at the goals that were conceded against Motherwell, Dundee, St Mirren, the chances we've thrown away against Panathinaikos, Pilsen. Both of those games, it could have ended up much worse. And then Club Brugge, obviously, I do think that they're really teach us a lesson away from home. So I think we'll struggle on Sunday. I think we'll really struggle on Sunday. What will happen and when it will happen, I don't know in terms of managerial appointments, but it's only going one way. The fans are already against them, and
it's an absolute joke. That
mental.
I agree. What you're saying about these fans, and it's what I said. I think it was episode 3, maybe the managerial merry-go-round episodes. I'd posed the question, not as an opinion at the time. I'd posed the question of, will his style of football, his persona, his veganism, this quote-unquote, not my words, but wokeness, all that stuff that he brings with him, be something that the fans will have in the back of their mind? So some fans will be like, oh yeah, we always support a Rangers manager before they kick the ball. Then they'll just use it, they just instantly hate him for some reason. And it really frustrated me earlier on. I was thinking about this, but Rangers fans with the leaving after 20 minutes, the Celtic fans with the sack the board chants. Football fans generally are fickle and so short, close-minded and short-minded. They want everything now. Everyone in the world generally wants everything right now. It's like instant gratification. Fans are willing to leave after 20 minutes because they don't believe their team can get back into a game. Fans want a board out that have been incredible for Celtic and done fantastic business, won them 13 of the last 14 titles, and treble after treble.
A shitload of money.
and made, exactly, and it improved their facilities and all these different things. And I'm sorry, but it's Rangers fans' fault. You might disagree. You're going to say it's the board that you've had, the previous establishment. It's Rangers fans' fault that you're in this position. Because Steven Gerrard walked, and you bring in Giovanni van Bronckhorst, who takes them to a European final and wins a Scottish Cup, And then it was 3 years ago yesterday, there was videos of the PSV away 1-0 win that got them into the Champions League. And you look at the Sweet Caroline in the dressing room and all these boys going mental, Tav with his tie on his head and all this shit. 3 years ago, the anniversary to yesterday. 3 months on from that, and he's sacked. He lost against two teams domestically, Celtic 3 times and St Johnstone 2 games before he got binned. The reason he got sacked is because Rangers fans turn against him and the noise around it. Yes, he had a bad Champions League campaign, and he was, but he never lost a domestic cup game. He was in a cup final when he got sacked. He'd already won a cup final.
I know.
The only team he'd lost to so Celtic and St Johnstone, and they wanted rid of him. He had a much better start as a Rangers manager than Gerrard did, albeit Gerrard came in and took over a worse squad. I get that. But Rangers fans created this issue for themselves by wanting Gio out, and then Michael Beale still has the second highest win percentage of all time, excluding Ali McCoist. And they wanted him out because apparently he was bad in the dressing room. Like, it's just rinse and fucking repeat. You're going to sack Russell Martin, and who's going to come in and do a better job? Nobody. It's ridiculous, and it's all their own fault, so hell mend them.
I agree. I agree with you. No, I totally agree with you. Look, Giovanni van Bronckhorst, what more do you fucking want? And the thing is, from Gio onwards, you've got a lot of disruption at board level. You've got a lot of missing. Clement obviously came out and did his big BBC interviews and all that kind of thing. There was huge fucking gaps in that board. There was no director of football for pretty much the whole of season last season. And at any level, that's mental. But a team the size of Rangers, having those gaps in there and having that lack of retention, that lack of structure in there, that's nothing to do with the manager, that at all. But you're having, Michael Beale, he got so much criticism for a lot of the signings that he made during that time. But he was the one that was having to go and fly out and fucking make the signings, recruit them, pretty much scout them the lot, and then, as you said, had an all right record, at the end of it. I'm not saying Michael Beale, would have been the greatest Rangers manager of all time, had he been given time around. Nobody knows, but at the end of the day, it's how quickly it turns toxic, is insane. Rangers have gone from a huge high of, having new investment in the club, having some structure behind the scenes, so recruiting someone from a Premier League team down south, as a director of football who was highly regarded by Everton, coming up here. And you've got to remember as well, everybody was shouting for Coppin to get to fuck, like, before this season started. All his recruitment was shite, all that kind of thing. Are you kidding me on? Like, there was a player trading model. You've just sold Jeffy for £6.5 million. You bought him on for a couple of $100,000. I know Eagleman's obviously a hot topic at the moment, but there's no way that you're not going to make money off of him. These are the types of players that he's brought in and we should be making money from. But again, it was the fans getting on the back and saying Coppin's shite, the recruitment shite, Clement's shite. It was all go. Do I think, Russell Martin is a good appointment at this moment in time for Rangers? Not really, because I do think that they needed a little bit more man management and maybe somebody that knew the league a little bit better or understood the club a wee bit better to help that transition. If you look at how Man City, when they got investment, I know it's obviously chalk and cheese, but when they got Mark Hughes in that kind of understood, English football, understood how to sort of build that foundation for the identity and then kick on. I think they maybe needed to look at a kind of similar style. Someone like Stephen Robinson would have been absolutely perfect. Very unsexy appointment, but I tell you what, Stephen Robinson would have had so much fucking shit thrown at him because he was the unsexy appointment, and then it would have been the cocktail to disintegrate again, like that's it. And it happens every single time. So it doesn't matter who you put in there. You can put in fucking Mourinho. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it would just turn toxic straight away. And the fans really need to get round that. But as I said before, I really do think that that's quite easy to identify. So I do think that the likes of the director of football, the likes of the CEO, really need to kind of step up their communication to try and drill in this new message and this new mentality to the fans. And some of them will get on board with it and some of them won't. But at the moment, it's a free-for-all. It's just the Wild West. You know, the more talking that's happening, the more, media that's kind of stringing things along, the more toxic it gets. And to be honest, Russell Martin's at the point of no return right now. You know, ultimately, and that's crazy. He's undefeated in the league. You know, he obviously sitting in a poor position. You know, don't get me wrong. 3 draws are really, you know, they're not good results. But ultimately, the last time that happened was 1989, and Rangers went on and won the league. It was 36 years ago.
Oh, that's a mic drop. Yes.
So ultimately, you know, we are at the start of the season. He's got 3 points on the board. You know, he's not lost 3 games. Does he deserve to have won those games? Not really, no. But if the fans were even half behind him at the moment, then there would be half a chance of maybe turning this around.
Is it because
personally,
Andrew?
I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's because he doesn't wear a suit. Because he refused to wear a suit on the touchdown.
Well,
I
this
read
is
that.
this is the thing.
Yeah,
These are all the things that, like, you
So
know,
I was like, what?
people will get wound up about, you know, traditions and all that, and kind of half understand it. But again, it's just the way that you handle it. You know, like, given it the whole sort of, you know, Prince Andrew situation is not really ideal. You know,
reverse Prince Andrew.
You reverse Prince
I
Andrew.
get too
Yeah.
sweaty.
Get
Can't
too
stop
sweaty.
sweating.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really I don't think. I think the seat's too big for Russell Martin, you know, and I don't think it's going to last. I can't see him lasting past Christmas.
I mean, you look at his record. He was
see-
manager of Southampton for 1 year when he got them promoted. He was MK Dons manager before that, and obviously the season after Southampton got promoted, they got absolutely battered. But he was sacked and they had like 3 points because they were rubbish.
Swansea in between, was he?
Yeah, Swansea as well for maybe a season.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
everyone
right,
talks about he plays great football and all this stuff like that, but I mean, he hasn't got a big. I don't say Gerrard. Gerrard was also unproven, but he was Steven Gerrard. Like, he demands like respect. You know, people respect Steven Gerrard.
Yeah,
people respect
absolutely.
Russell Martin and his floppy hair. I don't know.
I just don't think he's. I don't think he's the right guy for the at the right time. Maybe Russell Martin would have been an ideal appointment once that sort of squad was settled a wee bit, you know. But in my opinion, you know, someone like a Stephen Robinson who understands the league, you know, punched above his weight in that league, would be.
You're saying Martin's not big enough for the seat. Robinson would be so far away from that as well. That's
Well,
like,
yeah. Well,
not in my opinion in terms of like his managerial ability, but it's the same problem. It's the Rangers fans. They don't see Stephen Robinson as a Rangers name, a Rangers man, and like, does he know the club and has he got the prestige? No. So immediately, as soon as things go wrong, he's just going to get lambasted. And
I said that, but all I can look at it is ignoring the whole noise of the fans, because ultimately the noise of the fans is going to be the demise of every manager there. But ignoring that and looking at it a little bit more logically, you know, I would say that type of appointment, you know, he might not be there for 5 years, you know, but he might be there just to steady the ship a wee bit to allow the project to kind of kick on.
Yeah.
That would be a more sensible appointment in my opinion. And maybe, since, you know, things are probably going to go tits up for Martin, maybe that a kind of appointment is a little bit easier to swallow for Rangers fans, you know, if it did come about. But I really don't know. You know, obviously Rangers have splashed the cash in this window. You would imagine that they would, you know, American owners probably looking for a sexy name to replace Martin if it comes to it. But personally, I would try and go with someone that knows the league, someone that understands how to get a tune out of the players, and you know, that type of profile I think would fit a lot better for Rangers. But I can't see it happening. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah, no matter who it is, it's going to be like a disaster after disaster, from my opinion, because Rangers fans and Celtic fans, they only look at each other in terms of where they are. So Rangers could be doing fine, which they were season after season under Gio and Beale and Clement. They were doing fine, not fantastic, but fine. But just Celtic were miles ahead, and because you're not up there competing with that team, they hate it. And as soon as we'll move on to Celtic now, because they also had an embarrassing moment midweek, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's the same with them. As soon as they don't win a game, which they didn't against Kairat, I mean, it is pretty embarrassing not to beat them at home. But also, it's football. You're going to get results that don't go your way. And also, it's a two-legged tie. You're still well in control of that game. You're still bookies' favourites to qualify. And there was boos at some point. There were singing a sack the board at the weekend. They're saying Desmond get to fuck.
Yeah,
five competitive games into the season. You've only conceded one goal.
Mm-hmm.
You've won 4 of those games. You're still in the Champions League with a great chance of going through.
Yeah.
Your board's done a fantastic job, and their problem is not winning one game. It reminded me of the riots outside of Parkhead in 2020, I think it was, after beat by Ross County or whatever, and they're protesting and all that sort of shit. And Rangers and Celtic fans, everything's so binary. It's either fantastic or it's awful. It's never just like under McLeish and under Martin O'Neill and under Walter Smith and under these types of managers in the past for the old firm. You must have gone through rocky spells of 3-4 months of bad form.
Yes, yeah.
Of course
absolutely.
you did, but like they just everything nowadays, in my opinion, a lot of this is social media. You just need to instantly feel good. Like if you're not winning, you're losing. It's a 38-game season. Fuck's sake.
I don't disagree with anything you've said, but what I will say, just to add my kind of diagnosis to the whole Celtic situation right now. You're speaking more generally. Rodgers has fueled this fire. Rodgers has come out and he has caused the sack the board chance. He has said that he's not getting backed. He is not necessarily interested in sticking around unless you want to take the club to another level. He doesn't want to just stay there. And all those kind of words that came out very early on. That's fueled this, and that's why there's nothing pointed at Brendan Rodgers at the moment. He's like, a much better version of Russell Martin. Russell Martin tries to deflect, in a different way. But it's quite transparent. Rodgers is very clever. He's an experienced, he's a seasoned veteran, in the side. He understands what he's doing. But at the end of the day, what are the facts? The window's not shut for Celtic, right? They have a qualifier against Kairat, who are not a very good team, and with the 11 that they had on the pitch and the bench that they had there as well, they should have beaten them at Parkhead. But the tie's not over. They should go away and finish it off. That's how that should end. If they go over there and they don't finish the job, that's not the board's fault, in my opinion. The board have spent actually quite a lot of fucking money, to be honest with you. And you've got to remember, like, 2 of those signings in Engels and Ida, who haven't really worked out. Ida gets a little bit more criticism. They're Rodgers signings, so ultimately, you can't then just say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. And I'm looking to take the club further. You've asked the club to take you further. The club have digged into their pockets and they've spent about 20 million quid on 2 players. And then some. They've bought more in the market. It's not like you've got no signings, So the window's not over. They've got a couple of signings that seem to be right on the cusp of completing by the end of this week. If they don't get through that tie, that's not the board's fault. Like shouldn't be a sack the board situation.
To play devil's advocate a bit with what you're saying, I agree they've got enough firepower to go and win that game on last Wednesday and then tomorrow. Fully agree. What the Celtic fans will be saying is Jota's out, we've lost Kuhn, obviously Kyogo's gone. We do need replacements up front. We do have the money for them because we've made the money. Why can't we spend? So that's where they're coming from.
I understand
in that sense, but is it enough to be chanting during a game and being as upset as they are? No.
If they had a qualifier against a decent team, then yeah, fair enough. Like, absolutely fair enough. But the board are doing nothing but look after Celtic. They're being sensible. They get 40 million quid? If they get through this qualifier? So ultimately, they are going to do business late in this window. They see they've got John Kairat. They're like, oh, fuck it, we'll just take our time then. or by the signs of it, actually, there's a couple of signings that they've just been a wee bit unlucky with that just didn't quite go through. So, I don't think it's lack of activity. And in which window have Celtic not been backed? This window's not shut yet. That's the thing. And as
Celtic
I said, if they're coming up against a giant, right now, I could understand, we've lost Kyogo, Jota, etc., etc. Like, we need these reinforcements in for this qualifier. They don't. They're playing a really bang average team. They should comfortably be getting past that with the squad that they have. So none of the sack the board stuff should be happening now. If the window shuts and they get into the Champions League and they're getting absolutely spanked week in, week out, I can understand that, because then it falls in line with Rodgers saying, well, I want to take the club to this level. Rodgers saying that so early in the window, that for me is the biggest concern, but it's completely swept under the carpet.
Yeah. I think it'll all be a moot point. Celtic are going to go to Almaty tomorrow, and I think they'll put 3 past them at a minimum.
I think so.
I think they'll batter them. But we'll move on from club stuff and the old firm, and finally hear Matt's voice again after he's been sat dormant for a wee bitty. The Scotland squad was announced today before the upcoming World Cup qualifiers away in Copenhagen and away against Belarus, which is a behind closed doors game in Hungary, I believe. Or it could be Poland. I'm going to get that confused. The squad is made up predominantly of the usual faces, but Hickey's back for the first time in a couple of years. Conway's been dropped, but Dykes is back, which is raising some eyebrows for some people. Ben Gannon-Doak returns after missing the last 2 camps through injury, and obviously the goalkeeping dilemma continues. Craig Gordon is injured. Angus Gunn is second choice now at Forest, having left Norwich earlier in the year. Liam Kelly, second choice at Rangers, and Xander Clark, first choice at Hearts at the moment, only because Gordon's out and is having a wee bit of a tough start to life this season. So, Matt, what were your initial reactions when you saw the squad come out?
Just apathy, mate. It was it was like the usual suspects, which is fine because I like Steve Clark and I think he's done a good job. Dykesy boys, he scored for Birmingham the other day, so he's a good
character. Did you see the celebrations?
Yeah, it was class. Last minute counter attack. It was great.
Class.
I think with this squad and their bond, you have to keep going with these players for the last hurrah. The big fucking here we go, let's do it together, boys, one last time. I like Hickey back. I like the Bowie's there. I like that Miller's still there. Kirkcaldy, my man. I like that there's a decent mixture of young, exciting talent and the usual suspects. Goalkeeper has to be Gunn, in my opinion. Even though he's second choice, they know him better than the other two, so he's going to play. And I think he's got to go 4-2-3-1 or a variation of that with Doak playing as a winger. Please don't play 3 at the back ever again. And we'll qualify top of the group. Come on, Scotland!
Very patriotic.
This is it, the last fucking hurrah. This is going to be great. It's like it's going to be emotional, but we're going to do it. I feel good.
So no starting place in the lineup for Ferguson, in your opinion?
Nah, he doesn't really play him, does he? So he's not going to start playing now.
No, but is that what you would do, or is that what you think Clark's going to do?
Nah, I think that's what he would do, and that's what I would do. I would play Lennon Miller if I was going to choose between the two of them.
So in like a few months' time when we say, why can't Ferguson get a look in, you're going to be able to remember that you said you wouldn't do it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he likes Delmore and maybe partner Lennon Miller beside him. I saw he was on the bench for Udinese the other day, didn't get on, but
yeah, he didn't get on tonight either. I was watching the game going on my phone and hoping he was going to get subbed on so I could switch it on and watch it, but yeah, he was benched for the full 90. I was looking today at the Greece and the Denmark squads, and obviously in the rankings are much higher, and they do have better players or better squads apparently, but we've got more experience actually in our current squad. We've got more caps than either of those teams in the current squad, so that's one thing that under the likes of Levine and Strachan, Burley, etc., we'd kind of lacked a wee bit was experience. Boys with 60 plus caps, we didn't really have many of those, so that's really encouraging. In terms of the sort of goals per cap as well, if you want to look at that stat, we're identical to Greece. It's a goal for every 10 caps we've got, which is the same as Greece, and very, very similar to Denmark. The only player that upsets that stat is Christian Eriksen, who's unattached and probably won't play, I would imagine. So if you take him out, then it is the same ratio. And if you look at the players we've got obviously in goals we're struggling, and I'd say up front we don't have the same sort of firepower as these teams. But in the middle of the park and out wide, I think we can compete with both those teams.
Come on, Gannon Doak, son. This new player, I've never heard of this guy before, but it's Gannon Doak. Boy, he's going to fire us to the fucking. He's going to fire us.
Where's this Gannon come from?
He's Gannon. Gannon Doak. Gannon Doak. Is it pronounced Gannon Doak or Gannon Doak?
He's rebadged himself. Rebranded.
Did he get married? What happened? Like, what's the deal?
No, I think it's his mum's name.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, he wants to represent both sides of the family.
Yeah, this guy's the fucking future, man. It's really exciting. He's back and he's going to play. We all know how much of an impact he had in the Nations League games and how exciting we were attacking wise in those games and how pathetic we were when he wasn't playing. So this guy's our Gareth Bale. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he's the best attacking threat we've got, I would say. The only problem is we don't have the same balance on the left-hand side. McGinn can play out wide, has done for his club, but he doesn't have the same pace. He's not the same type of player. He's not as direct, so going to be quite one-sided in attack.
Could you play Gannon on one side and Doak on the other, do you reckon? Gannon on the left, Doak on the right.
I wish. But who's going to be your starting 9, in your opinion, Andrew? Would you go Adams? Would you go Dykes? Would you go Bowie?
To be fair, I would probably go Adams, but I do think that Bowie should be getting some minutes in the legs there for Scotland in this kind of game, So yeah, maybe see him on at 60 minutes or something, and just allow him to bleed in and maybe get a bit of confidence. That would be great. And if we can go into these big games with him, feeling positive, at a club level, and also integrated then into the national side, I think that would serve him pretty well. The same goes for Lennon Miller. Unfortunately, I do agree. I don't think Ferguson's going to get a shout because just Clark doesn't fancy him. But Lennon Miller, I think, just with him, starting on the bench for a couple of games at Udinese, it would probably be better for him to come off the bench, and do his thing again before then maybe sort of pushing for a starting place, in my opinion. But I wouldn't be disappointed to see him start. He showed he deserved it.
Yeah, he's the only difficulty for him is he's coming in at a time where we've got so many strong central midfielders. Any other generation, he'd be the first name in the team sheet from age 18.
But how good is that? Though?
I'd still like him to be, yeah.
If you've got that rotation, during the crucial fixtures, and also that adaptability, because they are all kind of different players, then there's a lot of strings to the bow there in that midfield, which is great. Ferguson and Gilmore have similar traits, but they're not the same player. Same with Ferguson and Lennon Miller, same with, McTominay if you're slotting him in there, same with, McGinn if you're bringing him back into sort of central midfield. So, they're all kind of different players, which is exciting.
And lastly, who is your starting goalkeeper of the 3 that we've got? Matthew, are you going Gunny?
I'm going Gunny.
Kelly?
I think you have to play Gunn.
Yeah.
Even though he's second choice at Forest, yeah?
He's played enough times for Scotland, for that team, to know the chemistry is going to be there. And, he's a good keeper. And I can't see that. I don't think the other two are better. So he's still the better goalkeeper, even though he's second choice now. Maybe he's just gone there for a wee... I don't know. It's weird being a second choice goalkeeper. It's hard to say how ready you'll be in terms of the sharpness, but I just don't really rate the other two above him. Xander Clark obviously is playing, but is not playing well, so you don't.
He's chucking him in left and right.
And I mean, Kelly's alright as well, so maybe if he comes in for Rangers, Butland's number 1 there. So
yeah, Kelly's only played the game against Alloa, I think it was, and he had a couple of moments that it was certainly sort of tensing the sphincter kind of situation, but Gunn, he's got, as you said, it's more the chemistry he's got with that back four, hopefully back four. Then he slots into that. But it's only because the other two options are just not, either getting game time or performing well at first team level. That Liam Kelly's had one more game than Gunn. So realistically, that's a non.
Hello, so
Exactly. So it's a non-contest, and then you look at Xander, and he's not really firing on all cylinders from a Hearts perspective. So Gunn's got to get that jersey surely.
Yeah, I thought it was a shoe-in as well, but a few people that I'd spoken to today had said that their last memory of Gunn in a Scotland shirt was a bad one, and I was bemused. So I'm glad to hear that you're.
You got to look at it overall either way, even if that was the case. But he understands how to play with that defence. He's had some good moments, and
plus he's class. He's just a really good keeper.
He's a decent keeper. Ultimately, when we were looking at potentially sort of evaluating the whole squad, Angus Gunn was someone that Rangers were kind of linked with, and I thought, to be fair, like that would be a really good appointment. So he's capable of playing a much higher level than that. I actually rate him as a keeper. It's a shame he's maybe second fiddle this season, but he's a decent keeper. He'll slot in there, no bother, and yeah, maybe he'll have a couple of rusty moments, but there's a good steady defence in front of him, especially now Hickey's back, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think to see him back, he makes all the difference for me in that position. Yeah. So yeah, good. All positive and optimistic moving into those games in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep.
In a world where sponsorship is more accessible than ever, that world exists at sportsponsorship.co.uk. Whether you're interested in making a difference to your local community or further afield, or perhaps you're looking for access to tens of thousands of followers online to push your brand further than ever, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk. That's sportsponsorship.co.uk.
Yep.
We've just chatted through most of that squad, 20-odd players. Now it's time to look at just two players, whether it's a home one or an away one. It's time for our weekly quiz, home or away. Pen and paper at the ready, Matthew. I can see you've got yours. Andrew will always have his.
I've got mine now. Last week did not work
out
well for me.
Bed.
Yeah.
Well, the scores after last week, Matt made a bit of a comeback. It's 30 points to Andrew and 22 to Matt. So only 8 points in it. You could technically overtake Andrew tonight if you were to steal his and get an away. But let's see if you're going to do that. You're actually going first this week. So are you going to go home or away, Matthew?
Away, please, Tam.
Oh, away. Fantastic. Clue 1. An uncapped French attacking midfielder.
French attacking midfielder.
Uncapped French attacking midfielder. So he's uncapped, that means he's got no caps. He's French, that means he's from France. And he's attacking midfield, so that could be left wing, right wing, CAM, Trequartista.
Trequartista or
Trequartista.
whatever it's called. Shadow striker.
Yeah.
False 9.
Inside forward. Can I get the second clue, please?
You can. If guessed correctly at this stage, you will gain 4 points. This player has 74 Scottish Premiership appearances with 3 different clubs between 2013 and 2021. I'll repeat that. 74 Scottish Premiership appearances with 3 different clubs between 2013 and 2021.
2013 and 8 years.
3 different clubs in that time
He
that
played
he
74 games.
played with in the Scottish Premiership.
He only played 74 games.
I'm not saying he was in Scotland for all 8 years there,
Okay.
like consecutively, but the stints with the Scottish clubs came in that
That's
window.
been 3 full seasons. Who's this guy? Uncapped French attacking midfielder. French. He's French.
Who the hell would that be? 3 clubs.
He's French. Okay, uncapped French. He's obviously not that good. He's a journeyman, you know, dicking about here, dicking about there.
Dicking about everywhere.
That's right.
Oh, it's 2-2 at St James's Park. Not that we cover English football, but we do have some Scottish links there with Andy Robertson.
Okay.
So we'll get away with it with that one. But 11 minutes added on, and it's 2-2. They're down to 10 men.
He's a bench boy now, eh? He can replace
French.
Any ideas, Matthew, or are you looking for clue number 3?
13-21.
That's hard, that.
Maybe he played for
It
like
is an away
St.
clue, yeah.
Mirren.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
But it is someone you will both know.
French.
Just keep repeating French.
I'm really struggling. I'm struggling to get a wee list together.
Yeah, I'll go next clue. Maybe.
Next clue, worth 2 points if guessed correctly here. His only honour in his whole career was winning the Scottish Challenge Cup with Dundee United in 2017.
It's Tony. It's Andrew.
Tony Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes, Tony Andrew.
Well done.
Well done.
I wouldn't have got that.
Yes, he is
played
your
for Dundee
history man.
United, Hamilton, and
Ross County in the end. But Dundee United wasn't in the Premiership. He was Championship with us, so he did play for someone else as well in that
Livingston.
window. Livy, correct, yeah.
Cool.
Well done. Anyway, 2 points puts you up to 24. And you've closed the gap again a wee bit. Andrew, over to you.
Home, obviously.
Home, okie dokie. Swedish defender.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that it?
Is that it?
No, that's not it.
Fucking
With
hell.
49 caps and 4 goals.
Come
It's not
on.
really much more help, but
Surely it's this guy, man. Go for it, man. Nah, it won't be that guy. It'll be the other guy. Or the other guy.
I'm sure we had one Swedish defender already, so it can't be.
who did we have
was it?
before?
We had what's the boy at Celtic that wore the police hat? What was his fucking name again? Oh my god. Swedish defender, 49 caps. I
Not
wouldn't
saying
know
goals.
anyway. Celtic have had a few Swedes, I'm sure. Or, well, no, he wouldn't have had 49 caps. But I'll write him down anyway. Who was the other boy? Was he Swedish? I'll write it down anyway.
Was he Icelandic? Was he Bosnian? Don't even know who you're thinking about, but I'm just trying to get in your head. Would you like clue 2 or would
Do
you
we
like
have
to take a
blonde
guess?
hair?
There's one that I'm trying to remember his name before, because then I've got 2 written down at the moment.
Just 2. There's been about 9 Swedish defenders.
I know.
Played in Scotland?
I'm not really. Well, one of them I've discounted. Then one of them I'm sure hasn't had 49 caps, and then the other one I would say has had 49 caps, 4 goals. I mean, maybe, probably. We've not got any years here, have we? So it's just Swedish defender, 49 caps, 4 goals.
Timing's up.
Okay, I'm gonna go Mjällby.
Johan Mjällby. That is correct. Well done. 3 points. Straight off the rip.
Fucking lost.
right then.
Fucking lost me. I've gone back.
Lost a point there, Matthew, overall. Yep. Andrew moves up to 33 and you stay on 24.
Yeah, I wrote Mjällby as well, or Lustig was the
Yeah.
guy's name.
Lustig, that was the one that we had before, so. But then I wrote down Hollander and I was like, there's no way he has had 49 caps.
Was Sviatchenko Swedish as well? No.
Oh, I don't know.
The other boy,
Sviatchenko, the Celtic man.
Starfelt,
There was-
he was Swedish.
Starfelt was it, or no, Ayer was Norwegian, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Norwegian, yeah.
Yeah. He was the one I was trying to
I
think
thought that
of.
one might have made you go to clue 2 or 3 there,
Mm.
but you've been bold, been brave, well done.
What
That
was
pays
clue
off.
2 and 3, just out of interest?
Clue 2 would have been he's won 3 Scottish top flight titles. I wasn't going to say SPL because that would have given the era away. 2 Scottish Cups and 2 League Cups, all for the same team, and finally has a UEFA Cup runners-up medal. So you would have definitely got it by the end.
Yeah, definitely.
Your Tam,
Yeah.
you see that Dundee United
There
are
you go.
continuing their cull of Scottish players by selling young Kai Fotheringham and signing him some big foreign striker. I mean, after your rant last week, fucking nonsense, mate. Oh, I've got 8 players on the bench. Oh, they're all sold. See you later.
Yep, well, there'll be another 8 come along pretty soon because we've got a fantastic academy, so shove it up your arse. And on that note, on that little argument, little bit of needle, we will end episode 13. Thank you all for listening. If you're still in at like an hour and 15 into this 45-minute episode,
Wrong with that.
we seem to overrun quite frequently. But yeah, thanks again. We'll be releasing episodes again next Tuesday, as we always do. Until then, if you want to drop us a DM, if you want to get in touch and just give us a bit of chat, please do, because we're quite lonely. See you later.
Bye.